Welcome back to the Jonestead. I'm Mary. Today is Thursday, September 4th, 2025. And today I wanted to share with you a prime example of local government overreach and what happens when certain individuals are entrusted with levels of power, but they use them for their own purposes and just to exert power over people as opposed to serving the people. This particular incident is taking place in St. Peters, Missouri, and a gentleman by the name of Chris Banks back in 2020 planted sunflowers in his front yard, and he did it for two reasons. One was to try and cheer people up because it was during COVID, and the second was he thought it'd be a good way to attract pollinators. And so he was trying to help cheer people up, which of course we can't possibly have that now, can we? So what occurred after that is apparently somebody complained and he was sent a violation notice from the local government. And they said that he was in violation of their sunflower ordinance. Okay, so we have he's breaking the sunflower law. And I'll go back, I found this article, let's see here. This one said he first received notice in it says here 2022, but I think it was 21, that his yard violated a city ordinance requiring at least 50% grass coverage. He disputed the claim, saying the grass to flower ratio met the city's standard, but the case still went to trial before being dropped. And I went back and found, and he was very careful about how he planted everything and manicured the grasses in between the sunflowers. You can find pictures of it if you look up the story. And this is from November 3rd, 2021. And it says, city taking St. Charles County man to court over sunflowers growing in yard. Can you imagine? He said, St. Peters resident Chris Banks tells Fox 2 he's been fighting the city after getting repeated letters and already appearing in court once to dispute the law. And this is classics. The city says he's breaking a city law that requires a specific grass to flowers ratio for residents. City spokeswoman Lisa Bedian told the TV station that despite no one actually going out to measure the yard, Banks falls on the illegal side of the ratio. So though nobody's gone out to actually look at it and measure anything, automatically he's guilty, they're right, and pay your fine and get rid of your flowers. So this has gone on, and what happened was they withdrew the charges because he had actually pulled the sunflowers as the season came, and it was time for them to come out anyway. And he said, I knew something probably wasn't right, Banks said. That chance to settle all that in front of a jury and be done with the whole sunflower situation was not going to happen because St. Peters pulled out. And what they did do after that, they pulled out of they dropped the case, and then they rewrote the ordinance again. And I think they've rewritten this ordinance. I think they're on their third rewrite. And so they're changing, and he's also had issues. So they changed the ordinance on him, and then they sent him another violation. And then the latest violation was because the sunflowers were so tall, they were impeding with the sunlight to get to the grass. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And this is what happens. These localities will double down because they will not let it, if they feel like if they let somebody off the hook, it puts them in a bad light, and then the citizens might think that they're emboldened to actually do something good for the community. And it's really sad. And then also it makes an example, so they go after somebody and find them, and they'll keep coming. They've got all the time in the world to just keep coming, sending letters, sending fines, threatening court. And then a regular citizen neighbor next door is going to think, well, I don't want them targeting me. And so nobody gets behind him. Well, this gentleman, actually people have been supporting him, and he's come home and found people have left him some money to help for his defense fund. And so this continues. He's hoping for them to draft a particular an ordinance that actually makes sense. But this is really despicable because they're going behind closed doors, changing the rules of the game, and then coming back. And he had a woman, apparently he has on video, came in, destroyed all of his sunflowers, which she was on private property, personal destruction of property. He gave all the evidence to the local police in St. Peter's, and they did nothing to follow up on it. So that's very disturbing also. And so while they're doubling down and going after this criminal for growing sunflowers in his front yard, I wanted to show you all something that is really miraculous, because I know you'll be surprised at this. They really have other priorities that they should be focusing on. It says St. Peter's, Missouri has a crime rate that is higher than the national average, with a notable distinction between violent and property crimes. Overall crime rate is approximately 33.34 per 1,000 residents, higher than the national average. The city ranks in the 27th percentile for safety. So for those of you in Rio Linda, what that means is it is safer than 27% of U.S. cities, but less safe than 73% of the U.S. cities. So you would think maybe that their priority should be going after violent crime and cleaning up the city and making it safer, as opposed to allocating resources to harass a gentleman who is growing sunflowers in his front yard. And sadly, these are the types of cases that go on in localities all across the country. And the fact that the complete upside down priorities, and we're seeing it on a national level, where you've got these high crime rates in cities, and those leaders are not, the governors are not doing anything. The mayors of those cities are doubling down, defending their crime rates, and to the point where the president wants to bring in the National Guard. I don't want us to have to do that. But the problem is these leaders are not taking responsibility. Last thing I want to see, and I think any of us want to see, is one of our U.S. military being killed or injured trying to help defend the city streets because that locality's leader refuses to do it. So those are things that are really concerning to me, and those are things that this country, we need to get a hold on that and support our law enforcement, but also hold these localities accountable that are bullying the citizens. They're not serving the citizens, and that comes down to, you've got to, even if you elect good people to be on the boards, personnel, the policy is personnel, and the bureaucrats that are in the system, if that stays the same, they will continue down this path. So hope you find this helpful. Keep in mind our U.S. national debt is still $37 trillion, and it's going up. And it's so important that we as Americans work hard to prepare ourselves to make sure that we're self-sufficient and also stand up for our rights and our Constitution. So have a great day, and I look forward to talking to you again soon.